Hello and welcome. You're watching Addis Media Network, and this is our weekly review with me, Brahana Taddese, and my colleague, of course, right here, Asra Taddisu. Really good to see you, brother.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Nice.
very much happy to see you again.
Nice. So over the week, there were many issues, and we have picked some of the issues, and it would be very nice if you just can remind us some of the issues.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we have had numerous issues this week. Among them, just we chose some of the topics that fit our review session.
Sure.
So the first one is the mayor's visit. Mayor Adanech Abiebie has paid a visit to the construction site at the Kaliti Intercity and the Intermediate Transport Terminal.
Right.
The other point which would be covered by us is the Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission's engagements and the discussions it holds with the appropriate national bodies.
Yeah.
And the third one is the Invest in Ethiopia 2025, which is anticipated to be conducted in the upcoming, no, not in the upcoming months, but in May, I think, in May of 2025. And we do have other topics as well, like the handover ceremony, the government's ongoing efforts to enhance peace, stability, and development for the people of Tigray. So the Tigray's, this being chief administrative position is, handed to General Taddese Reda, who is by now the incumbent chief administrator of the Tigray region. So this power handover of the week is a hot issue on the table, I think.
Right. So it would be nice if we can start from the visit. Mayor Adanech Abiebie visited the construction site, of course, around Kaliti, that is the intercity and intermediate transport terminal, which is, of course, expected to have a major infrastructure project set to transform passenger transport. And one of the amazing things that I saw here is just the numbers. For example, there will be about 13 ticket offices. You can imagine 1 and 2 ticket offices, but this will have 13 ticket offices, and you can see how wide that building will be. There will be cafes and retail shops as well, and conference halls as well. So speaking, of course, about this incorporates protective structure, shielding passengers from sun and rain. It was really difficult to shield yourself whenever you're waiting for a bus, whenever you want to catch a bus, or some other ways. So this is one of the base we're expecting. And one best thing that we will see, of course, will be the ticketing service, and that will be electronic one.
Quite a nice one, without any doubt. As you mentioned, people who want to commute always are looking for some shelters.
Sure.
The Kaliti Intercity and the Intermediate Transport Terminal, gives this opportunity for those who are looking for commuting. The commuters are always looking for something that gives them a kind of, rest in between their transport schedules. So, the first thing is, you should, meet the desires, the needs of the people who are transporting themselves from a place to another. Actually, this Kaliti Intercity and Intermediate Terminal is a terminal, and by terminal, everybody understands that it's like a place where you start movement and then you arrive there back. So it's just a 0-0 kind of thing, which you begin as a initial point, and then you move to somewhere else. So with all the opportunities, with all the networks, with all the necessity things intertwined into it, it's hoped to stretch and to provide upgraded, transport services to the city dwellers, and of course to those of the people who visit Addis Ababa.
One of the things I was, of course, expecting from this terminal, and hopefully we'll see it very soon, is the people having a good time there. Mostly when we have terminals, as you said, you just only move from to another place. And one of the things that I really wish we had in our country was this one as well. So you can stay there, you can go to cafes, you can also develop the reading habits of the people. Yeah, you can also develop communication as well. We don't only see like waiting only for the bus or when it's your time, you just enter and you move to wherever you want. But that's not only the only purpose, I guess. Of course, develop even having the dialogues, right?
Exactly.
And whenever you're waiting for your transportation, you will have enough time. Maybe at least 5 to 10 minutes will be enough for quite a discussion. And for those who want to read, it'll be very nice to read around the cafes. You can also wait somewhere else. And that, of course, develops the reading habit as well.
Yeah, people unexpectedly may encounter their kinships.
True.
Even if they don't encounter their kinships, people get introduced to each other, as you said. And acquaintances mostly begin in such coincidences.
That's right.
So, here it says, a seamless and weather-resistant experience.
Sure.
This is, I think, a crucial point. When you provide such a transport service with a terminal, it's hoped to be seamless, flawless. So, weather resistant, meaning you resist sun rays, violent sun rays, and even if conventional, not only conventional, torrential rainfalls, even if are there, you are there just to resist them. So, in addition to the points you mentioned, like the communication and the reading aspect, these are also the aspects that the government has taken into consideration. And I think this should be appreciated.
Yes, and this is quite a huge investment.
Yeah.
And speaking, of course, of the investment, Ethiopia is getting ready for the Invest in Ethiopia 2025. And Ethiopian Investment Commissioner, of course, Adanech Abiebie said, the upcoming Invest in Ethiopia 2025, the high-level business forum will massively promote Ethiopia's untapped investment opportunities. There are many opportunities in Ethiopia, and the forum will, of course, show us, and there will be a great chance for us all. For those who know Ethiopia, it will be a great chance to upgrade their level, how far we're going. And for those who don't know Ethiopia, this will be a great acquaintance.
Yeah. Countries, make use of such opportunities. If we take China, China used such coincidences to the maximum level. Or the optimum utilization of opportunities, gives paves another opportunity for those who are wise enough to use those opportunities.
Right.
So Ethiopia is, I think, very much prepared through the Ethiopian Investment Commission, as per the media brief of Adanech Abiebie, the commissioner of the Ethiopian Investment Commission.
Right.
Ethiopia is, anticipated, to take that opportunity and to invite the potential foreign investors and to bring direct foreign investment into the nation, so that there would be, flow of foreign currency, hard currency in the country. And, there would be a business movement, so that, as you said, the most important thing, those who know already about the Ethiopian business and the Ethiopian investment opportunities, will enhance their investment levels. And those who might have not came across the Ethiopian business and market opportunities will get, tamed and will introduce themselves to those in Ethiopia and to other potential investors who have been already in Ethiopia. So this would be, I think, because the most important here is the untapped potential, the unseen, the untouched potential is here still in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has lots of resources. If we start from the mining sector into the agriculture, into renewable energy, into some other sectors, Ethiopia has a lot of opportunities to get involved in. So investors are very welcomed to Ethiopia and get involved in the Ethiopian market. And there is a huge human labor here in Ethiopia. They are not expected to think of bringing another human labor from somewhere else. Human labor is here. And the government is very much ready, to make things available to them, a one-stop thing, this one window and one-stop thing. So investors come, and they get opportunities in a single stop through a window.
So the commissioner, Ethiopian Investment Commissioner, Adanech Abiebie said Ethiopia is the land of opportunities, and it's really quite amazing that we are witnessing that one. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be watching, of course, the video we have here, the Commissioner of Ethiopian Investment Commission, Adanech Abiebie, speaking about the opportunity and, of course, about the investment. And we'll be right back.
Invest in Ethiopia 2025 high level business forum ብለን ያለውን ምንድነው ማሳካት የምንፈልገው የሚለው I think የተወሰኑ ነገሮችን ማንሳት ያስፈልጋል።
We are excited to launch Invest in Ethiopia 2025 high level business forum and showcase the vast untapped investment potential of Ethiopia. We hope to sign the investment deals. This way, the foreign investors are believed to invest their capital in Ethiopia. Using this forum will seriously show how Ethiopia is a land of opportunities. The Ethiopian government has already made the investment environment as ambient as possible and accommodative. We'll also show them the fact that the private sector plays decisive roles in the Ethiopian economy.
We're watching Addis Media Network, and this is our weekly review with me, Brahana Taddese, and my colleague Asrat Addisu. And speaking of the investments and other ideas as well, and I think we have to start talking, of course, about the dialogue itself. It needs to have more dialogues about the dialogue itself.
Yeah.
So beginning of the dialogue itself, we have to start from here. I think before talking to my friend here, it's really good that we are talking to ourselves first. So dialogue has to begin, of course, in two people, but it has to begin from ourselves. Once I agree with the ideas I have, then it will be very easy to agree with others. So you have different ideas. The main reason we have national dialogues is because we need better dialogues, better development as well. So if we need changes, if we need even improvements, we have to begin from our houses. We have to begin from our offices. If there are some disagreements there, then there's no way that the nationwide will be solved. So we have to begin discussing in our houses. We will bring that one to our offices, to our community, and that goes to region and country-wise as well. And if Ethiopia is discussing ideas, then there's plenty of chance that Africans will be following, and other Africans will give us ideas, and we'll give them ideas as well. And the entire world is waiting for us as well.
Exactly. That is the way how it should be going on. So you mentioned this dialogue aspect, the first thing. In order to carry out dialogue, there should be at least dialogue. And the dialogue is still preceded by the so-called monologue. Is a monologue
within ourselves.
That is called, people talk to themselves. This is called intra-thing.
Personal communications.
The intrapersonal communication, which is a monologue thing, should be there. And the monologue paves the way for the dialogue. When a person gets in agreement, in synchrony with himself or with herself, the other thing, getting in agreement or in
groups.
To be synchronized with others starts from being synchronized with oneself. So you mentioned earlier about the communication there at Kaliti Intercity. That kind of communication still begins with a monologue and then goes to the dialogue. The Ethiopian government thinking far and taking experiences from even some of the African countries like Morocco, and the Middle East countries and the Latin American countries tried it. And some of them have been very successful. Whatever happens and whatever thing is out there, governments are expected to bring it still to the public, and the public deals with it. And then the best idea comes out. And the best idea gets dealt with just for the sake of bringing solutions to the problems which are identified by those in dialogue, the participants of the dialogue. Getting away from the dialogue, not being participant in the dialogue, is still, remaining negative, is, I think, not helpful to a given nation. So to make things better, as you said, a person is expected, to get involved in the dialogue, so that in this case, the news we have had this week was about, the conclusion of the agenda setting in Bahir Dar from April 5th to 9th. Yeah. But the most important thing is, the current situation in the vicinity of Bahir Dar. Whatever happens, the wish of the government is just bringing it to the nation, to the public, and most importantly, to those engaged in the problem, who are, they should be addressed, and they should bring every case to the table, and then the solution is sought. Sure. So that, as you said, dialogue still remains the core point, the central point, in order to seek solution, so that any problem arises, still solution is sought from the problems themselves.
Yes, so that's why we have to begin from the dialogue. So we have to discuss. That's why in a media briefing, of course, Jonas Adai, the commissioner of the commission, this is the right time to take a listen of Jonas Adai, and of course, we'll be back.
The
agenda collection and selection of representatives have been successfully completed, a significant milestone, yet only the beginning of a much greater journey. The true challenge lies ahead, building and nurturing a culture of democracy. This responsibility belongs to all of us. It is a legacy we will pass on to future generations. Active participation in this process is a powerful testament to the people's commitment to resolving issues through dialogue, consultation, and collective wisdom. This initiative is more than a procedural exercise. It is a vital step towards cultivating a democratic culture grounded in listening, respectful discourse, and collaboration. Together, we're laying the foundation for a more inclusive and participatory society.
Dear viewers, you're watching Addis Media Network, and this is our weekly review with me, Brian Tadessa, and my dear colleague, Asrat Addisu. And it's really a wonderful time to talk about the digital use of agriculture and how to use agriculture in a very modern way. And when we talk about modernity, of course, there's innovation as well. And over the week, there was this World Bank's global lead for data-driven digital agriculture innovation. And the main point, of course, here was enhancing productivity. There are different kinds of agriculture, there are different kinds of innovations. But if you don't have this one digitally enhanced, if you don't use it then in a modern way, the productivity will be less. And of course, talking about the market as well. Yeah. So whenever we're talking about the data-driven way and of course the digital way, we're talking about the farmers. And if you have the farmers, you have the farms as well. And if we talk about the farms as well, there is soil,
interlinked,
and the climate.
Yeah, we can't separate them.
It's true. So talking about the climate and weather, of course, and this has to go with the data we have, and data platform should be available. And the Parmesh Shah, he was speaking, of course, regarding to digital agriculture and innovation. And he said that substantial improvements in African agriculture productivity, products, and service can be achieved through investments.
Yeah. Yes. The people who are engaged in the agricultural aspect of their economy in the in the developed countries, all those, we can say nearly all of them are based on those data-driven agricultural aspect. Data-driven is nothing but the factors that are related to the environment. Soil, the soil texture must be based, the information about their soil condition should be provided to them. Agricultural scientists and experts there provide them this information, which is still a data, and they become data-driven agricultural enthusiasts. So likewise, Ethiopia, being a country that gave huge portion of emphasis to the agricultural aspect, side by side, its emphasis is still linked to the so-called data-driven kind of agricultural aspect. So this was, as you said, appreciated by Parmesh Sheikh,
Yes.
who is the lead of the data-driven digital agriculture and innovation for the World Bank. And he commended the Ethiopia's agricultural progress, which is still driven by the digital data to enhance, as you said, productivity. The most important thing is, still enhancing productivity.
Yes.
Enhancing productivity ensures the economic stability of a given nation, so that Ethiopia is looking to stabilize its subsistence needs and its provision of food and the needs here in the country, not getting them from outside, just providing the essential food commodities. And to provide the food commodities, there should be, as you said, information first. So this information is nothing but a data-driven agricultural productivity, so that they just evaluated, assessed the Ethiopia's engagement in the data-driven agricultural productivity. And they commended it. The World Bank commended it because they don't do it out of the blue, but on something on the ground. How Ethiopia is, getting interacted to it, getting dealt with it. They just see from the ground realities, and they appreciated it because of the Ethiopia's real engagement in it.
Yes. So that's a good idea. Of course, taking the ideas, taking the data, of course, to the farmers, and the farmers will have even the products wherever they want to sell it. So it'll be easy from the farmer to the customers as well. So Parmesh, the global lead of the World Bank Data-Driven Digital Agriculture, spoke about this one. And let's just take a listen of the global lead, and we'll be back.
Kenya has registered 6.5 million farmers. It is providing weather services to 4 million farmers. It's also providing climate smart advisory to about 3 million farmers. Then you have clearly Ethiopia. Ethiopia has developed a digital agriculture roadmap for 5 years, and it is providing some advisory services to farmers based on data. It has also digitized all their soil data. They have digitized soil map available, and they have working on 4 or 5 use cases here. And I think a lot of private sector in Ethiopia, Lerisha and lots of other startups are working with government to provide climate inquiry services. And then you have Malawi, which has also digitized all their data. Ghana has developed a digital advisory agribusiness platforms. So there are many initiatives going on in Africa. Early stage lessons show us that Ethiopia has introduced some climate resilient varieties with farmers, seeds, and which are being adopted by farmers. A lot of farmers are receiving advice based on climate data, weather data, and they are implementing solutions based on the advice which they are getting. And we have seen 20% increase in productivity in the early stages, but it's too early right now because it's only 1 or 1.5 year old. But if all the solutions and all the investments which are designed are implemented, we can expect to see 30 to 40% increase in productivity. And also, when there's a climate shock, the production will not fall down significantly. It will be stable production. And then finally, the access to markets, because Ethiopia is now emerging as a big agribusiness destination. It's got aspiration to do that. So it will also give us, give farmers who want to sell their products better access to markets, both in Africa and outside.
We're back, and you are watching, of course, Addis Media Network, and this is our weekly review. And we're talking about the quality local products, and over the weeks, not only over the weeks, there were a different expo, and one of the expos I was really interested to was the Ethiopia Tamrit, literally let Ethiopia produce. Yes, and in Ethiopia there are many things that we produce, and that we're even proud of it. It could be in one way or the other. There are many things that we produce, starting from the shoes we wear here. That's made in Ethiopia, by the way. I'm wearing this one.
I appreciate that.
And there are many clothing as well. And this is the right time to appreciate the Ethiopia Tamrit, Ethiopia locally produced products as well. So over the week there was the 4th citywide Ethiopia Tamert Addis Ababa Manufacturing Industry Expo, and this is taken as the testament to show the government's commitment on supporting the sector. Of course, the government has been supporting every development, mostly manufacturing the things we have in Ethiopia. And there were many participants over here, and they said they were really proud of it, and they're of course producing different materials used for different sport activities like jersey for footballers, if you're really following maybe Chelsea, Manchester United, or Arsenal, or Ethiopian coffee, or Sanchoche and others, and it will be easy for you to find it produced in Ethiopia. And basketball lovers as well, athletes and others will be easily finding this one. And earlier they said they used to receive some complaints, but currently they're producing with very high quality, and that is quite a good news.
Yeah,
Yes.
No question.
Yeah.
Yeah, to begin, producing things locally is one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, to act locally and to think globally should be the principle in here. Ethiopia has been, acting locally, we can say nearly, and thinking globally. In recent days, as you mentioned earlier, I've been, engaged in the news aspect of the foreign ministry, and it is endeavors to see and search for foreign markets and to connect with the businesses, even in the neighboring countries. So to begin with, the so-called Ethiopia Tamert in Amharic, and let Ethiopia produce in English. That is, I think, a very short, precise, to the point, catchy, and essential kind of, motto, which everybody catches and pushes, someone to act locally and think globally. So, everything produced in here should be more qualified, and the quality, enables them to get competent in the market. Still we import, and we still are exporting. So to balance and to get the business market more than those the imported items and commodities, there should still be uncompromised type of quality. So in the Ethiopia Tamert, or late Ethiopia Produce movement, quality is not compromised. If we trace back all the speeches and all the motivations that were released by the city administration of Addis Ababa and the federal government, by the way, what astonishes me is, the city administration, the federal government are acting towards all the sectors simultaneously. In a given period of time, they act towards agriculture, here in Addis Ababa, urban kind of agriculture, and at the federal level, all types of agriculture. And despite the fact that still the manufacturing aspect is not forgotten. If you come to the manufacturing aspect, it seems as if the government is working only for the manufacturing aspect. No, that's not the case. But the government is engaged in all the aspects simultaneously, and that is an indicator of the fact that the government is highly engaged in bringing the growth and the development of Ethiopia to somewhat
high level.
Exactly, to the high level. So manufacturing sector, government has been, to some extent, even subsidizing those interested to get involved in the manufacturing sector, and have been, providing all the necessary things, even starting from the land allocation. The plots of land have been needed, and the government has been allocating, and even the provision of the financial things, the credit. So all these things are, provided by the government to embolden the aspect of, manufacturing. So this sector should be, enhanced and upgraded so that the nation would be changed. So industry and the manufacturing are essential. Any country cannot be, growing to the extent. If we trace back anywhere in the Oriental world, or in the Western world, or in the Northern Hemisphere, every country's got to this level through industry. So the manufacturing aspect is well understood by the Ethiopian government, and that is, appreciated.
ወደ 625 የሚጠጉ ኢንዱስትሪዎች ንቅናቄ
The Ethiopian industrial movement is on a roll. With over 600 industries launched and thriving, they have not only set the wheels in motion, but also provided the essential support and oversight needed for sustainable production. Guided by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's clear directives, this initiative fosters collaboration between manufacturers and private entities. The results are evident. Innovation and growth in action.
የኢትዮጵያ ታምርት በምንሳተፍበት ጊዜ
For too long, locals turned to imported products because they were often unaware of the richest product right here at home. But through a dynamic movement, awareness is rising. People are now seeing the quality and experts of local products. It's about embracing the pride of supporting homegrown talents and celebrating creativity.
ኢትዮጵያ ታምርት ማለት በጣም የሚያበረታታን
Ethiopia Tamrit is our wake-up call, sparking motivation and inspiration. The incredible products you see today are all born from its amazing energy.
ኢቨንቱ በራሱ በየዓመቱ መደረጉ የሚፈጥረው
The occasion generates huge manufacturing and market connections. It's essential that we create a situation not just for Ethiopia, but for all Africa.
በኤግዚቢሽኖችና ምርቶቻችንን እንድናሳይ
This has inspired us to center our attention on showcasing our products at exhibition and similar events.
እኛም ደግሞ መነሳሳት ፈጥሮብናል.
And the final idea, of course, will take us to handing over ceremony. And over the years, there were some issues, especially regarding to the Ethiopian region, especially when we got to Tigray. And there was a war, and that was really devastating. People died. Houses were demolished. Infrastructures were, of course, demolished as well, and people suffered. That was the end. And after that, there was an interim government, exactly 2 years, and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia finally had to decide to pick, of course, the General Addis Ababa, and finally there was a handover ceremony over the week, and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, of course, pledged to consolidate the federal government's ongoing efforts to enhance peace, stability, and development for the people of Tigray, because they deserve the peace, stability, and development. They suffered a lot, as we mentioned again and again. There were many wars in Ethiopia, and almost all of the wars started from the northern parts of Ethiopia, because when people invade, actually countries invade, they start from the northern parts of Ethiopia. So the handover ceremony for the interim government, of course, the chief administrator of the Tigray regional state, took place the last week.
Exactly. As you said, the most important thing is the people of Tigray need peace, stability, security, development, growth, and all the positive things that others deserve. So, being geographically located at that strategic position, which is very close to the Red Sea, and to that of Eritrea, sharing boundaries with Eritrea, any invasion that comes to the country have been, waged through Tigray. So, in one or another way, the Tigray people have been victims and have stayed vulnerable to the damage and the dangers that were caused unwillingly. So sometimes, these days, the situation was not welcomed even by the people of Tigray and by all the concerned bodies. So, as we all know, the federal government has been exerting efforts to culminate, to bring down all the tensions, and this is part of it. And the Getachew Reda, the former chief administrator of Tigray region, handed over to the newly elected, who actually was elected through a wise method, taking, negotiations dealing with concerned bodies. It's not an overnight thing, but it took a process. It took kind of dealing. So it's a very important step, I dare to say. General Addis Ababa, whom I know in some coincidences, like as you know, I'm a person with military background, and when I was in a war front, he was the chief commander of my corps, which actually today is called command. So he has had a strategic mindset, and he knows how to deal with the problems. And a person who manages dealing with military issues, which are actually demanding, I believe that type of person can deal with such issues very easily. The Tigray people should and are expected to work on the side of him and his administration, so that his ideas, which are congruent, hopefully, to the federal government, shall come down to earth and will be implemented. That's my aspect.
We have the incoming interim government, that is Lieutenant General Addis Reda, and the outgoing was, of course, Getachew Reda. The Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, spoke about it and appreciated both the outgoing and incoming interim government.
Over the past month, the Ethiopian constitution, the Pretoria Peace Agreement, and the advice of the international diplomatic community have been at the center of extensive discussions. These discussions have included consultations with opposition parties, individuals, and the leadership of the transitional government in Tigray. We've had detailed conversations with Getachew Reda as part of efforts to appoint a body that will effectively lead the interim administration towards achieving the designed outcomes. We've also explored various other matters and perspectives to ensure that the path toward alliance with the best interests of all parties involved.
Asrat, it's been a wonderful time, of course, discussing different issues over the week, and what we've been discussing, of course, including the mayor's visit to construction site of the Quality Intercity and Intermediate Transportation Terminal was discussed. We also talked about the Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission and went to Invest in Ethiopia 2025, and we somehow discussed, of course, the digital agriculture and innovation, and finally we talked about the handover ceremony. That was the federal government's ongoing, of course, efforts to enhance peace, stability and development for the people of Tigray, and I really appreciate that you came and talked different issues. So Asrat, really appreciate. Hopefully I'll see you some other time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dear viewers, you've been watching Addis Media Network, and this is our weekly review with me, Brian Tadasa, and I will have you some other time. And that does it for today. Bye for now.